On to next speaker. Next speaker is Dr. Kamaljeet Kaur, and her topic is approaching zero failure rate in macular hole surgery. Dr. Kamaljeet Kaur is a vitreoretinal surgeon in Thind Eye Hospital, Jalandhar. She pursued her MS in year 2000 from Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research, Chandigarh. She completed her MBBS in the year 1997 from Government Medical College, Amritsar. Dr. Kamaljeet Kaur is an experienced, skilled and awarded doctor in her field of specialization. Dr. Kamaljeet, please, approaching zero failure rate in macular hole surgery.
So is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Good evening, everyone. First, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sangeet and Punjab Ophthalmological Society for giving me this opportunity to present here. I shall be discussing few techniques to achieve zero failure rate in macular hole surgery. Macular hole was first described by Knapp in 1869. First histopathological description was given by Fuchs. It was classified into 4 stages by Gass in 1988, and Kelly and Wendell did first vitrectomy for this entity with success rate of 58%. Macular hole could be idiopathic, traumatic, could be surgical trauma, myopia, or VFD in retinal vascular diseases. These are the 4 stages. In stage 1A, there is loss of foveal depression with yellow spot formation. In stage 1B, there is yellow ring formation. In stage 2, full thickness macular hole is formed, but the size is less than 400 microns. In stage 3, the size of the hole is more than 400 microns with partial vitreous aberration. In stage 4, there is complete PVD. These are the 4 stages. The treatment is mainly surgical with removal of the posterior hyaloid, epiretinal traction, internal limiting membrane, gas tamponade, and post-op positioning. I shall be sharing few surgical videos. This is the patient. This is a patient who had a full thickness macular hole. PVD induction was done with the help of Kennicott. The vitreous was removed completely, and then the ILM was stained with the ICG dye. This is an old video, so we are using ICG dye. The injection was not done under the air, and as soon as we inject, we remove it completely, so the contact period is less. The ILM is peeled from periphery to center. This is the conventional ILM peeling method. Slowly we remove the ILM. After completion of the ILM peeling, we do the fluid air exchange. And then the gas is injected. Post-operatively, the patient had type 1 closure of macular hole. This is another video showing the inverted flap technique. The patient had large macular hole. After completion of the vitreous removal, we stained the internal limiting membrane with the dye. The ILM was peeled from periphery to center, and then the flaps of the ILM were trimmed with the help of the cutter, with the suction keeping at the minimum and the pressure should be low. Then the flap was tucked inside the macular hole, and the patient had type 1 closure. This is another modality in which the free flap technique is used. This patient had already underwent vitrectomy for epiretinal membrane. Post-operatively, he developed macular hole. So we harvested ILM flap and tucked it inside the macular hole, and the hole closed. Some people are using temporal flaps, superior flaps. Some even are using amniotic membranes or even the capsule of the lens in the macular hole surgeries. In our center, we did a retrospective study on 107 eyes of 107 patients who underwent vitrectomy for macular hole from 2016 to 19. These patients, they underwent sutureless vitrectomy with ILM peeling and gas tamponade. Pre-operatively, best corrected visual acuity, fundus photo and OCT were done. The OCT parameters measured were stage of the macular hole, height, base diameter, minimal linear diameter, macular hole index, diameter hole index, tractional hole index, and hole form factor. A is the base diameter, B is the minimal linear dimension, C and D are the arm lengths to calculate the hole form factor, E is the height of the macular hole. So macular hole index is height of the hole divided by base, diameter hole index is minimal linear dimension divided by base, and the THI is hole height divided by the minimal linear diameter. Hole form factor is the ratio of sum of the arm lengths to the base diameter. In our study, the mean age of the patients were 63.28 years with 71 females, 36 males. Mean follow-up was 9.2 months. 40 patients were phakic, 67 pseudo-phakic. 8 patients, they had grade 2 macular hole. 28 patients, they had grade 3, and 71 patients, they had grade 4 macular hole. Mean MHI was 0.53, mean THI was 0.51, hole form factor was 0.85, and the mean THI was 1.34. The visual acuity improved from 6/36 to 6/18 post-operatively. Conventional ILM peeling method was done in 77 patients, and the inverted flap technique was done in 30 patients. 101 patients, they had type 1 closure. With 6 patients, they had type 2 closure. The progression of cataract was seen in 23 patients in 6 months post-operative period. We observed that in the macular hole index, if it is less than 0.35, the patients, they had poor anatomical results. And if it is more than 0.35, then the patients, they had type 1 closure. In tractional hole index, if the patients, they had THI less than 0.6, the anatomical results were poor. And if it is more than 0.6, the patients, they showed closed macular holes. So we observed that the MHI and THI, they had strong correlation with the anatomical results. We also calculated the hole form factor and DHI, but we just noticed that if the hole form factor is more than 0.9 and DHI is less than 0.5, then the patients, they had closed macular holes. So in our study, we noticed that if MHI is less than 0.35 and the tractional hole index is less than 0.6, these indicate poor anatomical closure of macular hole, and the patients, they needed inverted flap procedure. Based on this, we did a prospective study in our center on 31 patients. Out of this, 4 patients, they had macular hole index less than 0.35. 7 patients, they had tractional hole index less than 0.6. All these 11 patients, they underwent inverted flap procedure. The rest of the 20 patients, they underwent conventional ILM peeling surgery. And the type 1 closure was seen in all these cases. So to conclude, ILM flap technique is a promising addition in the armamentarium of VR surgeon. And if the macular hole index is less than 0.35 and tractional hole index is less than 0.6, it indicates poor anatomical closure and the patients, they need inverted flap procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal, for excellent presentation. Dr. Dinesh, I'll start with you.
Nice results, actually. Yeah, it's very good. Inverted flap technique actually for large holes or even for resurgeries, inverted flap techniques or stuffing the ILM patch, those are being advocated, but you really have very good results. Do you use C3F8 nowadays more commonly, or just SF6 is sufficient? And how much positioning, how many days, what would you prefer?
So in grade 2 macular holes, we are using short acting gas. And if we are using doing inverted flap procedure, then short acting gas is required. And the post-op positioning, we are just maintaining, telling the patient to lie down in any position except the supine position, maybe right or left. We are not telling him to maintain prone position.
Because in my experience, even like 12% or 14% C3F8 sometimes lasts very long. And I have almost in all cases of macular hole, I have shifted to SF6 and prone positioning for not more than 10 to 15 days. That's what I'm doing. So anybody else wants to share their
Vipin,
experience?
what is your criteria? When will you do a flap and when will you do a conventional ILM?
The hole is small, less than 400 micron. Am I audible?
Yes,
Vipin ji. Yes, Dr. Sir.
The hole is small to start with, less than 400 microns. I will do a conventional technique with a ILM peeling only. If the hole is large in the primary surgery, I might do an inverted flap technique. And if there's a failed macular hole, and obviously most of the times they're large only, then I can do a free flap technique. But the trick here is that you have to use a chandelier most of the times, because otherwise they tend to run off and get lost again and again. If you use a bimanual technique under maybe a little bit of viscoelastic, then it tends to stay there in the macular hole in my hands. That's what I do. I do not do such a long prone positioning. I would ask them to lie prone in whatever surgery for 2 to 3 days only, because again, it is easier said than done.
Dr.
And you
Raman,
use air or gas, sir?
I would use SF6 in all macular hole cases, not C3F8, because then they are blind from the gas for several days. Once I made that mistake of using a C3F8 in a one-eyed patient of detachment, and he was not able to see for 50 days or maybe half of the field. So then I realized that yes, it is too much of a good thing, probably. C3F8 is not required. If the hole has to attach, it will attach in the next 48 hours. If it has to close, it will close in the next 48 hours.
Free flap, actually, I just use a small PFCL bubble to keep it there and do an exchange.
Yes.
Dr. Raman, what is your criteria of
So for the idiopathic macular holes, my criteria is based on the literature and my own experience. 400 microns is my limit. So for less than 400 microns, I'm doing conventional ILM peeling and giving SF6 20%. And then more than 400 and the resurgeries, I'm doing this ILM peeling and I'm putting a tuck-in technique and giving SF6. And what I do is for post-op position, I do OCT at 2-3 days, because newer machines, SD OCT machine can give a good view through gas. And if the gas is 80-90%, if the hole is closed, I will stop the prone position in these patients. And here I would like to mention another thing. If there is a myopic macular hole, then there is enough literature which says that hole is even less than 400 microns, you do a flap technique, don't do the other technique. This is what I have to say.
one thing like what we have studied is in these cases in the past, the diameter of the hole itself is not very significantly related with the closure technique. So because smaller holes, they could be flatter and then they won't close. So what I have seen now after this study that we did of these 107 cases, like if the tractional hole index is less than 0.6, go ahead with the flap. Otherwise, they won't close. Whether the diameter is smaller than 400 or it's larger than 400, they won't close. Yeah, so this is one observation that we made. Dr. Parveen, would you like to add something?
So very nice videos, a lot of extensive ILM peeling, I would say. These days, I don't think I do that much of ILM peeling at all, because primary surgery, if I'm doing, I just, in the right eye, I make a temporal, start with the temporal, supratemporal, and leave about 1 or 2 clock hours of ILM attached, and just cover the hole with the ILM, put a drop of visco, do FG, and that's it. Advantage of doing this is that you do not touch the edges of the hole at all. So the type 1 closure is beautiful, visual recovery is beautiful. In the left eye, I again, since I am right-handed, I start a nasal flap and I use I will raise it just about more than 180 degrees and use that flap to cover it. So I'm able to get the ILM in a single, almost radial flap, and I cover the hole with that, put a drop of visco. I think Dr. Atul has described in a lot of videos that he does it with colored visco or this. But the advantage of this is that, especially in a first surgery, you get a beautiful type 1 closure, 6/6 vision. Patient is very happy. And as Dr. Ramandeep very nicely said, within 2 days, Dr. Vipin also highlighted, the hole will be closed. And if at all the hole is not closed, you know that there is the other edge of island that you have left behind. You can go back and use it and use your tuck and all that, whatever you want to do. And using a chandelier for a free flap is a very good technique. I think that has been described by the Egyptian retinal surgeons also. Under LPFC, they take it and they drag it under LPFC so that it stays in the thing. Otherwise, I think the videos were excellent, and I have not done that extensive in ILM from arcade to arcade in a long time now. We started doing it, but I think now all of us feel that whole surgery needs, first step it needs is a good PVD induction. Once a good PVD induction is done, a little ILM to cover that hole to allow the gliotic migration of cells is kind of enough and able to achieve the whole closure.
Dr. Subina, you would like to say something? Dr. Subina?
Yeah, I think I would go with it. In this macular hole surgery, we do give SF6 tamponade and 3 days of prone position. And similarly, now we've shifted to this inverted membrane technique. So that's what we are doing.
So once we invert the membrane, would you tuck the membrane inside the hole or just layer it over the hole? What is your technique?
In the first time, I just covered the hole. The flap, I try to keep it in a single piece. Don't break the flap, the ILM flap, so that it is large enough to cover the macular hole.
Very well. For recurrent or failed surgeries, when you are doing repeat surgeries, I do tuck it.
Yeah, then you have to tuck. But the disadvantage of tucking is that you touch the edges of the hole. So the visual recovery can sometimes be complicated.
Yeah, the functional results are not that good.
Yes.
This is what I want to ask. What are the functional results in your hands of tucking technique? How good is that?
Not that good as in conventional technique. Dr. Guha, you'd like to add something to it?
Oh, what a wonderful, I mean, the whole range has been covered. Just points I wanted to make. I totally agree with Dr. Praveen. That's my technique also. Because I have stopped doing conventional peeling, irrespective of the size. As you rightly pointed out, the size, the diameter, just judging on the diameter alone per se, can be a little flaw. There could be little, you might end up in trouble later on in case of type 2 closure or failed macular hole. So either a temporal flap, whether only difference is whether either I do a temporal flap because it smoothly settles when I do a fluid exchange, if there is a temporal flap. And in many cases, because the idea is not to heap up, I don't like the method of heaping up the ILM under PFCL. I have to do sometimes in failed cases, transplant, for taking a distant ILM transplant flap and under PFCL and dragging it as the Egyptians have described. But then again, I found that the functional architecture restoration is a bit dicey in those situations. So a smooth scaffold, as Dr. Praveen had described initially, and in failed cases, one technique is to be considered very seriously, as Dr. Tamir had described, sometimes is retina transplant. I don't know how many people here would have tried it, but the functional integrity has been found to be of immense value in this retina transplant. If you use a retina transplant, in fact, Dr. Rupak Kanti Biswas of Calcutta has devised an instrument, Trifine. You can customize it to, but what I do is I detach by using 41 gauge cannula. I detach it, that's my usual technique. and I don't use too much of diathermy. I just cut the approach and then just lay it. I don't tuck it, put it over the hole. In failed, in chronic large macular hole cases, retina transplant. That's all.